I, female, 24, escaped my super religious parents, but now my little sister wants the same freedom without doing any of the work, and I don't know if I'm being unfair. So my family is extremely religious. Like not just go to church on Sundays, religious, but the kind where my whole childhood was basically controlled. We're talking skirts below the knee, no pants ever, high necklines, 8 p.m. weekday curfews, even in college, no dating until 21, church twice a week minimum, and my parents monitored everything I watched or read. My mom would literally do these random surprise inspections of my room growing up. The thing is, I had a plan from day one. I knew the only way out was to play by their rules while secretly working toward independence. So that's what I did. I went to the local college they approved of because anything else was too worldly and got my accounting degree. But what they didn't know was I was working 3 jobs the whole time. Campus library during weekdays, retail on weekends, and online tutoring whenever I could fit it in. I saved literally every penny I could for 4 years. Like I would skip lunch most days and just eat ramen at night so I could put more money away. I missed out on so much normal college stuff. Had to turn down study groups that met after my stupid curfew. Couldn't go to any parties or campus events because I was always working, and somehow still managed to keep a 3.8 GPA despite being exhausted all the time. But it was worth it because at 22, I finally had enough saved to move out. I was smart about it though. Told my parents I needed to live closer to my accounting job, which wasn't even a lie, but still came to family dinner every Sunday and church twice a week for like 6 months after moving out. Slowly started having to work during church times and being too tired for family dinners until I finally had the space I needed. It was hard, but I did it the right way without blowing up my relationship with my family completely. So now to the actual issue. My little sister Maya, female 18, just graduated high school and is basically in the same situation I was. Parents are making her live at home while she goes to community college, 9 p.m. curfew. She got an extra hour because she complained so much lol. Only supervised dating, aka group church activities with a boy they approve of, and all the same religious activities I had to do. The difference is Maya has always been more rebellious than me. When she was 14, I caught her putting on makeup in the school bathroom that she'd hide in her backpack. She got caught with secular music multiple times and was grounded for weeks. I was always the good example, oldest daughter, so Maya actually had it a little easier than me in some ways, but she still fought against every rule. Anyway, last weekend, my parents were at this church retreat thing, and Maya shows up at my apartment completely out of nowhere. She's wearing jeans, which our parents would flip out over, and like a full face of makeup. She just starts pacing around my apartment, which is tiny, by the way, and saying stuff like, "You don't know how lucky you are," and "I can't believe you get to just live like this." Then she tells me she actually applied to a bunch of colleges far away, but our parents found out and forced her to go to the local community college instead. She starts crying, saying she hates it at home and feels trapped. So I tried to comfort her, told her I understand, and it gets better with time, that she just needs to be patient and make a plan like I did. That's when she just straight up asks if she can move in with me, like completely out of nowhere. I tried explaining that I have a tiny 1-bedroom apartment and I'm on a really tight budget. I'm still paying off some student loans. She just brushed it off, saying she could sleep on the couch and get a job to help with expenses. When I brought up how our parents would basically disown her, and probably me too, she got super defensive and said I was just like them, controlling her life and not supporting her, which is so unfair because I've always tried to be there for her. I guess I'm conflicted because part of me resents that she thinks she can just leave without doing any of the work. Like, I spent years carefully planning my escape. I sacrificed everything, worked myself to exhaustion, played by all their stupid rules, and maintained the peace. Maya just wants to run away the second she graduates without any real plan. Also, and I feel bad admitting this, Maya always had it slightly easier than me growing up. Since I was the oldest, I had to be the example setter, while Maya got away with more because my parents were already tired from fighting with me about every little thing. But then 2 days ago, I got this angry call from my parents because Maya came home past curfew and told them she was with me all evening, which was a complete lie. I had no idea where she was. When I tried to text Maya about it, she just sent back, "Don't worry about me anymore. I'll find my own way out since you won't help me." And now she's not answering any of my texts or calls. It's been 2 days, and I'm freaking out a little. I feel like I made the right decision. I literally can't afford to support her, and I worked so hard for my independence, but now I'm worried about what she might be doing. Am I being unfair? Should I have just let her crash on my couch, even though it would probably ruin my relationship with my parents and stretch my budget to the breaking point? I don't know what to do. Edit. Some people are asking why I still care about my relationship with my parents after how controlling they were. It's complicated. They genuinely believe they're doing what's best. And outside of the strict rules, they've supported me in other ways. Plus, my grandparents and entire extended family are part of the same church. Cutting off my parents means potentially losing everyone. Edit 2. To clarify for those asking, no, I don't think Maya should have to suffer through what I did. The system is totally unfair. I just don't think I'm the solution since I'm barely keeping myself afloat financially. And yes, I've tried suggesting compromise solutions to her, like helping her find roommates or making a saving plan, but she wants an immediate escape. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since I posted 2 weeks ago. Like a lot. Thank you to everyone who commented on my last post. First of all, for everyone who was worried, Maya isn't missing anymore. She's safe. And I'm using air quotes here for reasons that will become obvious. But let me back up and explain everything that's happened since my last post, because it's been a complete nightmare. About 3 days after I posted, Maya had this massive blow-up fight with our parents, like nuclear level. It happened right after Sunday worship, while Mom was making the usual pot roast with carrots that we've literally had every single Sunday since I was 5 years old. Not relevant, but it's just one of those weird family traditions that never changes. Anyway, my dad confronted Maya about coming home late again the night before, and she just lost it. Started screaming about how controlling they are and how she's an adult now. I wasn't there, thank God, but my mom called me crying afterward. Apparently Maya stormed out and nobody knew where she went. The next morning, they found a note on her bed just saying, "Staying with a friend. Don't try to find me." That's it. Nothing else. My dad was like, this is just her rebellious phase. She'll be back when she gets hungry, and refused to do anything. My mom was silently crying every night and I guess sleeping on Maya's bed, which honestly breaks my heart a little. I kept trying to call and text Maya, but got nothing back. After 3 days, my mom finally convinced my dad to file a police report. But since Maya is 18, they basically said there wasn't much they could do if she left voluntarily. Then yesterday, out of nowhere, I get this text from Maya. "I'm safe. Can we meet?" That's it. No explanation. No apology for making everyone worry. Nothing. But I was just relieved she was okay, so I said yes right away. We agreed to meet at this coffee shop halfway between my apartment and, well, wherever she was staying. She wouldn't say. I got there like 15 minutes early because I was so anxious and just sat there, picking at my coffee sleeve the whole time. When Maya finally walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. I'm not exaggerating. Her hair was purple, which, whatever, I don't care about hair color, but our parents will literally have heart attacks. She had on this heavy, dark makeup and was wearing clothes that were, let's just say, not church approved, like at all. But the biggest shock was the guy with her. This tall dude with these tribal tattoos up and down his arms and this fancy designer watch. He had his arm around Maya the entire time, like physically attached to her. Before I could even hug my sister or ask where she'd been, this guy sticks his hand out and goes, "I'm Jason, Maya's partner." Not boyfriend, partner. Which just felt weird for an 18-year-old girl who's been dating someone for, well, I didn't even know how long at that point. I asked how they met, and Jason immediately jumps in with this whole story about their spiritual connection and how they recognized each other's souls online. Maya just sat there nodding and smiling, checking his face after like every sentence like she needed his approval or something. She was being so quiet, which is not like Maya at all. I finally asked if I could talk to Maya alone for a minute, and Jason was like, "We don't keep secrets from each other," which was just a red flag the size of Texas. Maya whispered something to him, and he finally agreed to step outside to take a business call. Eye roll. The second he steps away, Maya starts defending him before I even said anything. I know what you're going to say, but Jason really cares about me and he's helping me figure out my life path and all this other weird stuff that didn't sound like Maya at all. Then she told me some big news. I'm dropping out of college. Jason says I don't need it for the life we're building. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The Maya I know has always wanted to go to college, even if it wasn't her first choice school. I tried to be calm and just ask normal questions like how long they'd been together and where she was living now. Turns out, they'd been talking online for about 6 months but only met in person 3 times before she moved in with him. 3 times. And she's been lying to everyone about where she was going when she missed curfew. Also, get this. Jason is 27. 27. That's a 9-year age gap with my barely adult sister who's never even been allowed to date normally. The whole time we're talking, I'm noticing all these weird things, like how Maya kept checking the door to see if Jason was coming back, how she seemed to shrink whenever he did come back to the table, how she used to be this confident, sometimes too confident person, and now she's like, muted. But the worst part, they're moving to California in 2 weeks for some business opportunity Jason has in the music industry. She wouldn't give me any details about what this opportunity actually is, just kept saying how Jason has connections and is going to help her find her path. When Jason went to the bathroom, I tried to talk some sense into her. I was like, Maya, you barely know this guy. You don't have to rush into moving across the country with him. But instead of listening, she pulls out her phone and starts texting him in the bathroom. She literally showed me the text. My sister is saying the same stuff my parents would. She used to report my sins to our parents all the time. Okay, so yeah, I did tell our parents a few times when Maya was doing dangerous stuff as a teenager, like when she was 14 and meeting strangers from the internet, ironically. But the way she twisted it to Jason made me sound like some kind of spy. The more we talked, the more I realized Maya had been planning this for months. She admitted she stole almost $2,000 from our parents' emergency fund to start her new life. She said Jason was going to take care of her financially until she finds her path. Whatever that means, I honestly don't know what to do. Part of me thinks Maya needs to experience consequences for her actions, but I'm really worried about what those consequences might be with someone like Jason. He just gives off these controlling vibes. The way he answered questions for her, the way he kept touching her constantly, like marking his territory, how he jokingly made comments about her makeup being a little much, and how she immediately said she'd tone it down. This morning, Maya called to say she's officially cut contact with our parents and refuses to give me her address, in case you tell them. She's only communicating through her cell phone now. I feel like I'm watching a slow-motion car crash and can't do anything to stop it. Should I have done more? Said more? I don't know if anything would have gotten through to her anyway. Maya has always been stubborn, but this is something else entirely. Now for the second update. So it's been like 3 months since my last update about Maya, and everything has basically gone to complete shit. I'm sorry for disappearing for so long. I've been dealing with so much, and honestly, it's been hard to even process everything that's happened, let alone write it all down. I need to catch you up on what's happened. Remember how my sister Maya ran off with Jason, male, 27, who she barely knew, and they were moving to California for his music industry connections? Yeah, well, that went badly. For those who said he was a predator taking advantage of a sheltered girl, you were 100% right. About 6 weeks after they moved, I got this call at 2 a.m. from an unknown number. I answered it anyway because nobody calls at 2 a.m. unless something is really wrong. It was Maya. She was crying really hard. I heard all this background noise like cars passing by. Turns out she was calling from a payphone at some gas station in Nevada. A payphone. I didn't even know those still existed. She kept saying, "Please help me," over and over. It took me like 10 minutes to get her to calm down enough to explain what happened. What she told me was awful. The California opportunity was a complete lie. Jason occasionally DJ'd at tiny clubs for barely any money. They were living in a gross studio apartment with a broken bathroom sink. Maya worked double shifts at a diner to support them because Jason kept saying his big break was coming. And the way he treated her, God, it makes me furious just typing this. He controlled everything. He took her paycheck every week and only gave her a tiny allowance for bus fare. He checked her phone constantly and deleted numbers of people she met at work. He monitored her social media and made her block anyone who messaged her. He would time her commute from work and accuse her of cheating if she was even 5 minutes late. I'm getting so angry remembering all this. I literally need to take deep breaths. The breaking point came when Maya found messages on Jason's computer. He'd been reaching out to multiple girls from back home, like specifically targeting girls from our church youth group, some as young as 16. She confronted him about it, and he completely lost it. Destroyed a bunch of her stuff, cornered her in their apartment, screamed in her face for hours. She said she genuinely thought he might kill her. She waited until he passed out. He'd been drinking. Grabbed her phone and this small backpack with whatever clothes she could fit, and just ran. Walked for like an hour before finding this gas station with a payphone. She called me because Jason had deleted all her other contacts, and she had memorized my number since we were kids. I immediately sent her money through Western Union for a bus ticket and told her she could stay with me temporarily until she figured things out. I wish I could have gone to get her myself, but it was literally across the country. While waiting for her to arrive, it was like a 26-hour bus ride, I literally spent 8 hours stress cleaning my apartment. I don't know why, but I just couldn't stop. My mom always used to do the same thing. Whenever there was family tension, she'd clean everything obsessively. Guess I inherited that lovely coping mechanism along with her anxiety lol. When Maya finally arrived, honestly, I nearly cried when I saw her. She was so much thinner than before. Her eyes had these dark circles underneath. She jumped at like every little noise. And even though it was pretty warm outside, she was wearing this scarf that she kept adjusting. Later I realized why. There was this yellowish-greenish bruise near her collarbone that she was trying to hide. I called our parents right away to let them know Maya was safe, but they couldn't just be relieved and supportive. They immediately started with their conditions for her to come home. She'd have to make a public apology in front of the entire church, do counseling with their pastor, who has 0 actual counseling credentials, by the way, and no phone or internet access for 6 months. Basically, they wanted to lock her up and control her even more than before, which is exactly what drove her away in the first place. Maya refused to go back home, which I totally understand, but she literally had nowhere else to go. No money, no job, no friends nearby. So I reluctantly offered to let her crash on my couch temporarily, but I made the boundaries super clear. She needed to get a job as soon as possible, contribute to groceries and utilities once she was working, and make actual plans for school or some kind of stable employment. She agreed to everything, seemed really grateful, and for maybe like the first week things were okay-ish. But then everything just started deteriorating. Maya seemed to think that freedom meant 0 responsibility. She'd leave dishes in the sink for days, invite friends over without asking me, friends she'd just met at the mall or wherever, sleep until noon even on weekdays, and basically treat my home like some convenient crash pad. About 3 weeks in, we had this huge fight. I came home from work completely exhausted, tax season is brutal in accounting, and noticed my expensive skincare products had clearly been used, like a lot of product missing and the caps weren't even on properly. I asked Maya if she'd used my skincare stuff. She admitted she had and didn't understand why I was upset. I told her that serum cost $65 a bottle, and I'd specifically told her my personal products weren't for sharing. She rolled her eyes and said it wasn't a big deal between sisters and I was being dramatic. I told her it wasn't just about skincare. She'd been ignoring pretty much every boundary I'd set. She had people over until midnight when I had an early meeting, wasn't cleaning up after herself, and hadn't even applied for any jobs yet. Maya said I was being controlling and just like our parents. That really hurt. I told her I was nothing like them. I was paying all the bills while she contributed nothing and just asking for basic respect for my space and things. She said she was still recovering from everything with Jason and asked if I even cared what she went through. I said of course I cared, but maybe living with our parents would be better if she needed more time to recover without working. Maya completely exploded, saying I've always thought I was better than her, that I was always the perfect daughter while she was the screw-up. She brought up old stuff from when we were kids and said I've always had it easier than her. I almost told her to get out right then, but I managed to walk away and cool down in my bedroom instead. I just sat there while she blasted music in the living room. Things just got worse from there. Maya got a job at a cafe down the street, but got fired after like 2 weeks for constantly being late. She claimed she was attending community college classes, but I'd find her at home during times she was supposed to be in class. And then I found out she'd used my credit card to buy a bunch of clothes online without asking me. It all came to a head when I found some papers in her backpack while looking for my charger, which she was always taking without asking. They were college withdrawal notices. She had completely dropped all her classes but was still pretending to attend. That night when she got home, I confronted her about the withdrawal notices. She claimed they were old and accused me of going through her stuff. I explained I was looking for my charger in her backpack, and I'd confirmed with the college that she withdrew 3 weeks ago. Maya got defensive and said college isn't for everyone. When she started quoting Jason, I told her not to quote that abusive guy to me. I pointed out she'd been lying about everything and needed to move out within 30 days. She asked if I was serious about kicking her out when things were getting better. I asked how things were better when she got fired, dropped out of school, stole my credit card, and broke every promise she made when she moved in. Maya started crying, but it was different this time. She went from defiant to desperate really quickly. With her voice breaking, she begged me, saying she had nowhere to go. I asked her to help me understand because it seemed like she was just taking advantage of me the same way she did with our parents. That's when Maya finally broke. She pulled down her shirt collar and showed me this perfectly circular scar on her shoulder that I hadn't seen before. She barely whispered that Jason did this with a cigarette when she asked to call me one time. And suddenly, everything made sense. She went from super confident and rebellious to someone who couldn't even make basic decisions. She admitted Jason had been physically abusive multiple times, not just at the end. She said she felt damaged and worthless, and that's why she'd been acting so recklessly. I was still angry about everything, but I found myself sitting down next to her instead of continuing to stand over her. Through tears, Maya admitted I was right about everything. She wanted freedom without responsibility and thought there was a shortcut. She was tired of watching me struggle for years while she was still trapped and thought Jason was her easy way out. It's been about a month since that conversation, and things aren't perfect, but they're better. Maya moved in with 2 roommates from a college housing board I helped her find. She's back at community college, for real this time, taking just 2 classes, and she's working 2 jobs, just like I warned her she might need to do if she wanted independence. We still have a lot to work through, and our relationship is fragile, but at least she's safe and actually working toward independence the right way now. Our parents still don't know all the details about what happened with Jason. Maya doesn't want them to know, and they're still upset she won't come home under their conditions. I honestly don't know if I did everything right in this situation. Sometimes I think I was too harsh with her, other times not harsh enough. But I guess that's what happens when you're figuring out how to be an adult without any good examples.